Seasoner
and Co.
Welcome to
Second-Hand Haunting,
where we read ghost stories from a second-hand book I bought from a second-hand shop and try and make sense of them.
Fun of them.
Sense of them.
Fun of them.
Oh, by the way, we're in the new studio.
The new, brand new studio that we got just for this.
Hell yeah!
It's the Second-Hand Haunting Studio.
It's a first-hand room, though.
We've been so gifted with all of our supporters that we're able to financially support this endeavour.
Oh, I should probably set up a Patreon, shouldn't I? Anyway.
So, Callum, what have you got for us today?
Well, Ollie, we're going back to the Elliott O'Donnell well.
Ah, lovely.
For a story that I teased a while ago and realised we never actually did.
Okay.
So I want to pick it up and do it now before we move on to other books.
Sure.
Now, the last couple of weeks have been from The Hag of the Dribble by Elliott O'Donnell. But for today's story, we are going back further to a book that Elliott himself published. This is Scottish Ghost Stories by Elliott O'Donnell. And the name of the story actually contains a Mad Lib, a blank, if you will, because he's trying to anonymise what house this happened in, I guess to avoid ruining the real estate value of it?
Well, that's nice of him.
Yeah. So the title says it's just in blank house near Blythewood Square in Glasgow.
Does it actually say blank?
Blank, yeah.
Blank.
There's a big dash, a dash bigger than Sonic the Hedgehog.
So it's like blank from blankety blank blank?
Yep. But that does mean that you get to name this house if you want, because it comes up a few times, and it would be silly if I just keep calling it Blank House.
Featherton House.
Featherton House. I kind of love it. All right. So this is the tale of Featherton House near Blythewood Square in Glasgow, a.k.a. the Haunted Bath.
Ooh, Haunted Bath.
Yep.
Where the soap goes to die.
I think soap's already dead.
Where the soap goes to rest in peace.
And the bubbles pop.
Yep.
And the life goes down the drain. That's what I call pulling the plug.
Okay, you got me with that one.
When Captain W.D.S. Smythe went to look over Featherton House in the neighbourhood of Blythewood Square, Glasgow, the only thing about the house he did not like was the bathroom. It struck him as excessively grim. The secret of the grimness did not lie, he thought, in any one particular feature, in the tall, gaunt geezer, for example, though there was always something in the look of a geezer when it was old and dilapidated, as was the case with this one, that repelled him. Or in the dark drying cupboard, or in the narrow, slit-like window. But in the room as a whole, its atmosphere and general appearance. What I had forgotten was Elliott O'Donnell's absolute abuse of punctuation to get through a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was all one goddamn sentence, and I'm a little bit worried now.
It reminds me of I was as like a 16-year-old. I had no sense of punctuation. I had big, long sentences. You know,
Mm-hmm.
When I was 16-year-old, I would write a sentence that would be like what I now know to be like 10 sentences long.
Yeah, a paragraph.
Yeah, a paragraph.
Whereas this guy feels like he's just discovered hyphens and commas, semicolons and parentheses, and he's using them with abandon.
Yeah, that was me as well. It's funny that I think that the evolution of my writing was me being able to figure out when to end a sentence.
You just did. Well done. Take a hint, Elliot. Now, in amongst all that punctuation, you might have picked up on the word geezer.
I did, actually.
Yep. So that's a hot water heater.
Oh, is it?
Yep. So that's a real old style hot water heater. It's called
Genuinely
a geezer.
thought you were talking about an old person.
There was always something about the look of an old person when it was old and dilapidated.
It was, right? An old, dilapidated person.
Oh, no. Alright, well, you can keep thinking that there's just an old person sitting in the corner of this room if you like.
Do you think that's where the term may have originated from? Like, a geezer to a geezer?
Here's the thing. I would pronounce the thing that spews hot water and steam out of the ground as a geyser.
Yes.
And I would call an old person a geezer. Well, I wouldn't, but that's the pronunciation I would use. Now, I did look this up, and in 1800 Scotland, they would have said geezer. So that's what I'm using.
Oh, okay, right. So it was like, it's a geyser, but it's pronounced geezer.
Yeah, it is one of those ambiguous words that very much depends on accent. And since this is Scotland, I'll go with what they say. Or they'll shiv me.
The Scots will shiv you?
Yeah, for a lot worse than using the wrong accent. They'd shiv me for using the right one.
Yeah, I had a friend, we have a shared friend, I guess you would, that went to Glasgow. And, you know, we're in Adelaide. We have a street here in Adelaide called Hindley Street. And when our friend got back, they said that it was more dangerous in Hindley Street than it was in Glasgow.
I have also been to Glasgow, and I would describe Glasgow as like if Hindley Street and Port Adelaide was a whole city.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that does sound quite dangerous.
It's not great. Yeah.
I mean, you didn't get shivved though.
It's skeezy and scummy in a real charming way.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine getting shivved anywhere. Like, you know.
Now, the thing
got
is...
too much of a nice demeanour to be shivvable.
I am a white person, so I felt fairly safe on those streets.
Okay. Let's not dig into that, or should we? I don't know.
No, we should not. He could not diagnose it. He could not associate it with anything else he had ever experienced. It was a grimness that he could only specify as grim. Grim with a grimness that made him feel like he should not like to be alone there in the dead of night. As well as punctuation, I feel like Elliott has just discovered the word grim.
I love how he's like in the dead of night in the bathroom. In the dead of night, I decided to have a bath. I felt dirty.
I don't know if I've ever had a bath in the middle of the night, but I suspect it could be a singularly sublime experience.
If I did, it was at a hell of a whim. It was probably a drunken whim. And I just wanted to feel something.
Oh, no. Well, I'm glad you're still here with us today. It was a nuisance.
I didn't actually mean it to be that depressing. Oh, it's so funny. I kid you, I didn't even mean that to be depressing at all. I just thought it was... I didn't even know what I thought.
Moving on. It was a nuisance because the rest of the house pleased him. Moreover, the locality was convenient and the rent moderate. Very moderate for such a neighbourhood.
Cheap.
Yeah. I don't know where Blytheswood Square is, but I assume it's fairly centrally located.
Cheap haunted district.
He thought the matter well over as he leaned in the doorway of the bathroom. He could, of course, have the room completely renovated. New paper, new paint, and a fresh bath. Hot water pipes! The geysers should be done away with. The geysers were hideous, dangerous, and pshaw, what nonsense. Ghostly! What absurd rot! How his wife would laugh. That decided the question. His wife! She had expressed a very ardent wish that he should take a house in or near Blytheswood Square, if he could get one on anything like reasonable terms. And here was his chance. Look, despite the fact that he absolutely hates his bathroom, it's grim as fuck, his wife would absolutely love this house, so he's going to get it.
He's going to get the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to get, what do we call it? Featherton House.
He's going to buy Featherton.
Buy or rent, I'm not sure.
Sure, okay. He's going to acquire in some way Featherton House. Because the boss signed off on it.
Yeah. I'll edit that for your benefit. He would accompany the agent of the property to the latter's office, and the preliminaries should be forthwith settled. 6 weeks later, he and his family were installed in the house, which still reeked with the smell of fresh paint and paper. So I think he has renovated that bathroom in the time.
And it could be a rental, you know.
It sounds like they bought it at this point, right?
Well, sometimes you see people like renovate rentals. Like I've seen that. I've seen people like renovate rentals. I'm always like, oh.
Normally for a commercial fit out, yes, but I think it can happen for residential too.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends. Like if you had a rental and someone asks if they could repaint a room, surely is that fine?
If you're the owner and you've only got one person applying and they're saying, hey, we'll rent this place from you, but only if you paint the bathroom, I guess you'd do it.
Yeah.
But if you had like 10 people applying...
I was going to say that one person applying in Adelaide, that probably wouldn't happen at the moment.
I don't think that's just an Adelaide problem. I think that's just a 2025 problem.
2025, the year of finding it hard to find a property to rent.
Whereas if you are a captain in the 1800s, I think you could probably buy a house anywhere in Glasgow that you really wanted to.
Oh, of course you could. Yeah, on a captain's salary.
I don't know what he's a captain of.
Doesn't matter.
His own destiny.
Captain of a barge or a captain of a...
I thought you were going to say captain of a bath then.
A barge is the right term. That's the type of boat, isn't it?
That is a type of boat.
Or a schooner.
Yes. That's also a type of boat. That's a ship, actually.
Or a frigate.
Oh, just forget about it.
Anyway, the title of captain demanded respect and came with surely a generous salary that would surely afford you the opportunity to buy...
To buy a house in central Glasgow.
Featherton.
Yes, that's right, Featherton House.
Featherton House.
The first thing the captain did when he got there was to steal away slyly to the bathroom. And as soon as he opened the door, his heart sank.
Surely he knew.
Despite the many alterations the room had undergone, the grimness was still there. There. Everywhere. In the fine new 6-foot bath with its glistening, gleaming wooden framework, in the newly papered, newly painted cupboard, in the walls with their bright, fresh paper, in the snowy surface of the whitewashed ceiling, in the air, the very air itself was full of it. The captain was, as a rule, very fond of his bath, but in his new quarters he firmly resolved that someone else should use the bath before he made the experiment.
Made his experiment?
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to explain. What do you think that means?
I had no idea. I wondered if it was, maybe just having a bath.
Yeah. Being the first to have a bath.
The first in the newly renovated bathery. Yeah. To have a bath, to break in the tub, as so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the one. I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't understand the urge to, upon purchasing a house and arriving, steal away slyly to the bathroom. I've been there. But...
Not for a bath.
No, of course not.
Trying the facilities before you buy?
I reckon. No, I think within the first week of owning the house, I had a bath. And realised I'm not having another bath.
I was about to ask if you owned a bathtub, but do you own a bathtub?
I do own a bathtub.
Is it big enough for you as well?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I don't think I've had a bathtub be big enough for me for a very, very long time. Yeah. Bathtubs are not designed for people like me.
No, it's...
Are we about the same stature, roughly? Yeah.
It's big enough for my wife to have a bath without being very comfortable. Mm-hmm. But it's perfectly big enough for the dog to have a bath.
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
We don't have a bath. We're bathless.
Do you not?
No.
You've got 1.5 bathrooms. I haven't been in the one. I've only been in the half. But...
Really? Okay. Well, I'll have to show you the half.
I have been in.
Oh, sorry. The hole then. The hole? The hole.
Olly, I don't want to see your hole.
I don't want you to see it either. No, if you went into our bathroom, all you would see is a very amazing shower, but that is all that would be there.
Okay. Did you ever...
I have access to a bath, but it's not here.
That's mysterious. Yeah. Oh, next door?
No.
Oh, even more mysterious.
in the...
It's like a riddle. I have access to a bath, but I don't own one. What am I?
Oh, it's at the beach
A
house.
renter. Ah, the beach house, of course. My riddle has a new answer.
The beach house bath.
You won't like the answer.
What's the answer?
I'm not going to tell you, but hey, if you do know the answer to my riddle, send us an email at
Secondhand
Yeah, that's right. Links in the description. In a very few days, the family had all settled down, and everyone, with the exception of the captain, had had a bath. But no matter how many and how bitter were his wife's complaints, try how he would, he could not, he positively could not bring himself to wash in the bathroom alone. This guy's been in the house for a whole week and hasn't bathed.
Maybe he just likes the rub down.
From himself? From his wife?
From his wife.
From his maid?
Either way.
From the kids? Ugh, no.
You made it dirty. No, so...
So did the captain.
Look, you know what? I think I've never had that experience before. You know, that's...
What? A bath?
No, like...
A sponge bath?
Like a bath, as an adult, having someone else scrub you down.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that.
I do.
And no. It was all right. It was all right. It was all right so long as the door was open. But his wife resolutely refused to allow him to keep it open. And the moment it was shut, his abject terror returned, a terror produced by nothing that he could in any ways analyse or define. So he seems to want to have a bath just with the door open, and much like we have kind of discussed, that shouldn't happen.
Right. Well, if it's middle of the day, everybody's away, surely you can have a bath by yourself with the door open.
I'm assuming that the captain has a job that he goes to during the day, and that his wife and kids presumably don't.
Sorry, I got distracted by a pigeon.
That's staying in.
Yeah, of course. You know, he's got business on the frigate.
Yep. At last.
Friggin' hell.
You don't frigate shut your mouth. If you don't shut your frigate mouth, damn it.
Either way.
At last, ashamed of his cowardice, he screwed up courage and, with a look of determined desperation in his eyes and mouth, an expression which sent his wife into fits of laughter, set out one night from his bedroom, candle in hand, and entered the bathroom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Shutting and locking the door, he lighted another candle, and, after placing them both on the mantel shelf, turned on the bath water and began to undress.
Ooh.
Was that meant to be a spooky ooh, or a...
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
I may as well have a peep in the cupboard, he said, just to satisfy myself that no one is hiding there. What the yeah, this sentence just keeps going. Okay.
I say roll with it.
I'm going to say the entire sentence out loud, hopefully with no interruption from myself or yourself,
All right.
that he apparently said to himself. Just to satisfy myself that no one is hiding there, for everyone in the house knows I hate this beastly bathroom, with the intention of playing me a practical joke. Supposing one of the maids, Polly for example, I'm sure she'd be quite capable, took it into her pretty head to... And that's where he stops talking to himself.
Just at the two?
But here the captain was obliged to stop. He really was not equal to facing, even in his mind's eye, the situation such a supposition involved. And at the bare idea of such a thing, his countenance assumed a deeper hue. And, I am loath to admit, an amused grin. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah. Were we talking about like a word of...
Oh, that's right, absolutely. Keep your mind open for the word award.
Okay.
Yeah? There's been one that I think I've already decided, but we're 2 pages into a longer story.
Was his name Blythe? Was that right?
Smythe.
Smythe.
Yes. Captain W.D.S. Smythe.
Yeah, that reminds me. I was thinking of a movie I quite like called The Blithe Spirit. Have you seen that?
I've heard of that. I've heard of that recently, and I'm not sure why. Was it you?
Could be.
We did get drunk the other day, and I forgot a lot of things. Sure.
It's a period piece. Mm-hmm. By that, I don't mean the Red Dawn. And in the... Do you want me to re-say that? All right.
Continue.
Right. I'll start again.
No, just continue.
It's a period piece. It's about a guy where he's a wealthy writer, and he is plagued by his ex-wife who passed away and is a ghost that is haunting him. But he remarried, and there's like a medium involved that is channeling.
It's starting to jog my mind where I might have heard about this recently.
Honestly, it's actually one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
So we'd say that's a recommendation?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Blithe Spirit, yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you would like it. I think you would like it.
I probably would.
I would be surprised if you
Is it like, you know how gothic horror is like a thing? Is this like gothic romance?
Yeah, kind of. Oh. Yeah. Stalkery gothic romance for sure. Yeah, because it's like essentially it's like the ghost is stalking him.
Yeah,
but like in a funny way. Like it's a comedy.
So, despite the fact that the captain is a bit scared of the bathroom, he's kind of grinning to himself about how silly it is to be a bit. No, Christ Almighty. The grin, however, died out as he cautiously opened the door and peered furtively in. No one, nothing was there. With a breath of relief, he closed the door again, placed a chair against it, and, sitting down, proceeded to pull off his clothes. Locked himself in the
wasn't hanging out. Okay.
No, god damn it.
I was imagining him like he's like naked, flapping about in the air as he's like opening up cupboards. But I was wrong.
I mean, look, I was just going to speed through this next sentence, but I feel like you would enjoy if I slow down a bit. Coat. Vest. Undergarments. He placed them all tenderly in an untidy heap on the floor. And then, with a last lingering, affectionate look at them, walked sedately towards the bath. Are you happy?
Someone is.
If that tickled your fancy, please do not email us at 2ndhandhaunt@gmail.com.
But definitely sign up to his OnlyFans.
I don't want to know that my got a tingle in that moment. I don't know where the edit's going, but it's absolutely going.
I just don't even know where to start with that. How did I say that?
Do you want me to make it worse?
Oh, yeah.
My listens too.
Sure, of course she does. Oh, the whole family's worth of entertainment.
Oh, no. Thank God my does not.
Well, what a shame.
But
that's the line.
But this sedatedness was only momentary. The first few steps he walked. But, a noise in the grate startling him, he suddenly assumed an air of the greatest gaiety, and, bowing with mock gallantry to his trousers, he now waltzed coquettishly to the bath.
Coquettishly?
Coquettishly.
Have you know that word?
Oh, yes. Sort of shy, but reservedly enthusiastic. Yeah, like, ooh.
We definitely have to Google that.
No. Yeah.
You can cut that out. That's fine. Sorry.
No, that's staying. You had to Google it too. Get out of here.
I was going to say I'd have to do that as well. Like, absolutely. Like, I've never heard that before. Coquettishly.
It's very much like in the 1800s when all the women were in whalebone corsets and fanning themselves and seeing the men on the other side of the dance floor and whispering to themselves coquettishly about who they might like to dance with.
It's one of my favourite things about this podcast is learning new words.
Keep those word awards handy.
I've already forgotten So maybe this will be the winner.
Well, I'll tell you one word that's not going to win my word award.
Sure.
Grim. Because I'm sick of hearing the word grim and it's coming up again. It was grim. Horribly grim. And horribly hot too, for when he felt the temperature with one of his squat, podgy toes, it made him swear quite involuntarily. Turning on the cold water and slapping his thighs playfully, he felt again. Too hot yet, far too hot even for him, and he loved heat. More cold, and he was hoisting one chubby leg to feel again, when a repetition of the noise in the grate made him swing round. He lost his balance and descended on the floor with a very hard bump. You got an idea of this absolute maniac trying to get into a bathtub?
What a traumatic experience. For,
Traumatic? This feels like it belongs in the Three Stooges or something.
I guess it's all about perspective.
That's a good point. The Three Stooges was absolutely three men abusing the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, I've often thought to myself, that just seems like abuse to me. Like, I kind of find it hard to just, like, go, okay, slapstick, that's cool. Like, I watch that and I'm just like, is that comedy? Like, so,
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe I'm the weird one.
No, I'd almost look at it as if it's a sort of what not to do situation. I mean...
Get those little adhesive stickers.
What?
You know how you can get those, like those stickers that you can put in your bathtub to, like, stop you sliding around?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, they probably weren't available at the time.
Hang on. Ollie.
Or a bath mat.
This guy isn't even in the bathtub yet.
Oh, yeah.
He's fallen on his way to getting in.
Oh, that's a good point. Sorry, I didn't factor that in. So, like, just a simple bath mat would have...
Probably would have helped. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it would have helped if rubber had been invented, yeah.
So this man, this captain...
This captain...
totally
undignified captain...
has been out at sea, leading men into large waves, looking to starboard, looking to shore.
Hey, okay. I feel the need to quiz you about which directions are which on a ship.
Well, I feel like looking to shore is wherever the shore is.
I mean, that's correct, yes.
Yes!
Okay. But
nailed it! What's the other directions?
Port.
Port?
Yes.
Is there port and starboard?
That's the other direction, yeah, but which one's which?
So it's port and starboard.
Yeah.
So starboard and port.
Are you pointing as attempting to answer the question? Or?
No. But
if you're on the ship facing forward...
I'm going to say starboard to my left and port to my right.
No, it's the other way around.
Well, fuck.
Yeah. Because you always come up to port in the same direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, look, honestly, it was like 50-50.
If I'm wrong, this whole thing's going.
I mean,
I'll look it up later, Callum. In the future, figure this out.
I didn't know, obviously. Well, I'm not a salesperson. I get seasick.
Hang on. Did you just call people who work on ships salespeople?
I did.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
I meant something else, obviously. Crewman?
Sailor.
Yes, I meant sailors.
Salesman. Oh, they're called riggers.
So, anyway. So, looking to port, looking to starboard.
Looking to Bath.
Looking to shore. And so this man who has obviously had his sea legs at some point. Mm-hmm. I got that right.
Yep. I think that's fair.
Potentially bailed some water off of the...
No, the captains don't bail. Come on.
Yeah, no, they ordered to bail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, surely he started at like...
It depends how desperate it is.
You know, worked his way up in the chain. Or, he's probably rich, you know.
Yeah.
Rich people just get the jobs, don't they?
Yeah, you got there. You got there.
Anyway, all right, so... This man that has sea legs can't make it to a bathtub.
Correct.
That is hilarious.
He's too scared to get into his bath and he fell over. For some seconds, he lay still, too sulky and aggrieved even to get up.
I tell you, if I was his crew, I'd be mutinying.
Just looking back on what's happened to him in the past couple of minutes.
Can't even get into a berth.
He has.
We need a new captain. One that can bathe.
One that can bathe. No. This is an extra salty sea dog.
Nice.
But yeah, the last few minutes of this poor captain's life, he has said to his wife, hey, can I leave the door open while I go into the bathroom just in case something happens to me? Wife said no. So he's gone the complete opposite direction, locked the door, and then fallen over while attempting to get into the bathtub. I feel like he was right to leave the door open.
No, I feel like you should have a nicer wife.
Yeah, I can understand her position of saying, don't be naked in front of the children, please.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, okay, good point. Good points well made. Good points well made.
However, she did laugh at him, so, whatever.
It's hard to say, yeah.
For some seconds, he lay still, too sulky and aggrieved even to get up, but the draught from under the ill-fitting door, tickling his bare flesh in the most immodest fashion, he roused himself from his lethargy and was about to raise himself from the floor when the lights went out. Went out without a moment's warning, and he found himself engulfed in the most funereal darkness. To say he was startled is to put it very mildly.
I thought he probably just flashed his candles out.
That's a very good point, yes. If not splash, then it was the draft from under the door that blew the candles out.
All I can say is that I feel like candlelight is pretty fragile in my experience.
Yeah. Far too terror-stricken to think of moving now, least of all getting up and groping for the matches. Indeed, when he came to think of it, he had not seen any matches in the room.
You think as a captain he'd at least fork out for a lamp?
He probably could spring for a lantern or something that isn't
You'd think
blown
so,
out.
right? Yeah, there was definitely lamps at the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Harder to go out because they had the whole the glass that went over the top.
Having said that, if you've just bought a house, you're stingy for a bit.
Sure. Yeah, I used to be able to get candles with glass protection as well.
Absolutely. They're called a hurricane lamp.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's that sort of traditional one you think with, you hold the handle at the top and it's got a glass bit at the bottom with the candle in the middle. Yeah.
Do you know, you actually really blew my mind with that candle fact. The candle emits more stuff into the air. Because I really like the effect of candles. And
shouldn't use them in an enclosed room for extended periods of time.
Yeah, right. That was what you were saying. Yeah, no, I thought that was super fascinating because I've always really enjoyed the aesthetic of a candle. I wonder if it's a primitive thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, grog love candle.
Yeah.
Fire good.
Absolutely. I feel that, It's
More fire?
Yeah, something
Too
about,
much.
There's something about having a fire that feels so much more enticing than putting on a light.
100% agreed. When it gets to winter, maybe we should have some candles while we record. That could be fun.
I have a whole fire pit.
Too much!
Put it right there. Fire.
Oh. Anyway, back to the captain. He had not seen any matches in the room, and he had not brought any with him. His wife had flurried him so much.
Flurried?
Flurried. Get to the bathtub, you stinky git. So it's all his wife's fault that the candles have gone out and he can't relight them.
Do you know, this entire time when we've been telling the story, all I could think about was the fact that this must have been the only way that they would have cleaned themselves. Because we shower, we get the great invention of the shower.
I will never stop espousing how much I love the invention of hot water falling from above. But I realised I never looked up when the first shower was invented.
Well,
we're going to do that right now.
When was the first shower invented?
1767.
Well, that was a long time ago.
It was.
It was probably widespread after being invented, though.
Yeah, that was when the patent was awarded to William Feetham. So
a name that goes down in history.
Yeah, I I mean, we know the name of Thomas Crapper, but we should also know the name of William Feetham.
Do we know the name of Thomas Crapper?
Of course we do. He invented the flushable toilet.
Did he indeed?
He did.
Yeah. Well, I did not know that until right now. No, for me it's just been...
The more you know. That'll be edited in, probably. I'm not going to edit in that silly sound effect, but I will edit in a correction to my misinformation, and that is Thomas Crapper did not invent the flushable toilet, but he did invent several improvements to it, such as the floating ballcock and the U-bend.
The more, for me, it's just been like Tesla and Edison. What was the guy with the key? The kite.
I know, but I'm going to let you flounder for a moment.
Isaac Newton? No.
Frankly, you should know this.
Oh, what's that?
He's been really important in history.
Ben Franklin.
There you go.
Obviously, you gave me a few little hints there.
He didn't discover electricity, he just discovered that lightning was electricity. The moment the candles were extinguished, the grimness sensibly increased, and he could feel all around him, thickly amalgamated with the ether, a superphysical presence, at once hostile and horrible. Then, to bring his terror to a climax, there issued from the bath a loud rubbing and splashing, as if someone, some very heavy person, was vigorously washing. Yes, Ollie, you seem to be having some trouble over there.
Oh, just thinking about how his horror came to a climax with all the rubbing and washing from the other person.
What other person?
Entity?
The water rose and fell, squished and bubbled, as it does when one is lying at full... Do you need a minute?
Did it rise and fall and squish and bubble, did it?
It did.
Squishy, squish, up and down.
Yes, as it does when one is lying at full length in it, raising...
Full length, you say?
Raising and lowering oneself, kicking and plunging first on one side and then on the other.
Oh, like you just, like, obviously you can see this, right? Like you can hear this. Like, it's me.
I'm going to hope everyone's done this at least once, ill-advisedly as a child, has like slid up and down the bath and got the momentum of the water going.
Oh, that's what you're thinking.
Is that just me?
Actually, yes.
Oh, it is just me.
No. I have done that. But honestly, until you told me, until we talked about it just now, I completely forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've remembered that for like over 20 years. Like,
right?
I
guarantee everyone in the audience has just had that like memory unlocked.
It's like, oh my
fuck,
God,
of course,
I've done that. Yeah, of course I've done that.
Once. Only once.
Only
the water
once.
has gone everywhere and gone like, oh, that's why we don't do this.
I'm not sure if I'm that good at lessons.
Well, you don't do it anymore. Oh, you don't have a bathtub, that's right.
Not here.
Whilst, to add to the realism, Captain Smythe distinctly heard gasping and puffing and the soft, greasy sound of a well-soaped flannel.
A little sexy. Not the same.
Just a little bit. A little bit. Love a good flannel.
Clean up afterwards.
No. He could indeed follow every movement of the occupant of the bath as graphically as if he had seen him, from the brisk scrubbing of body and legs to the finicky process of cleaning the ears and toes. So whatever this is in the bathtub is just doing a full-on bath. It's what he should be doing, frankly.
Cleaning?
Yeah, cleaning himself. He's been a week without touching water, apparently.
Oh, if you haven't cleaned in a week, he probably hasn't touched a lot of things in a week.
Poor Mrs. Smythe. It was whilst the bather was occupied thus that the cupboard door began to open, very quietly and stealthily, and Captain de Smythe heard the chair he had so carefully placed against it being gradually propelled across the floor. So I will confirm here, I'm sorry. I thought the chair was against the bathroom door. It's not. It's against the cupboard door.
Oh, that's actually what I thought.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I thought, because when you were talking about it before, he talked about opening the cupboard and looking for some sort of entity in the cupboard and then deciding that he couldn't find anything and then propping the chair up against it. So that's how I heard it. It was like propping it up against the cupboard.
I'm glad you're tracking through this story then.
Oh, like I'm more surprised than you.
Then something, he would have given anything to tell what, came out and began to steal toward him. He tried to crawl out of its way, but could not. His limbs no longer acted conjointly with his brain, and when he opened his mouth to shout at it, his voice withered away in his throat. That was so perfectly accurate. I want to ask for, like, a second take where I might not be laughing. Okay, it's getting sexual now. It came up to him, and directly it touched his naked skin. He knew it was a woman. A woman with a much beflounced silk skirt and silk petticoats. A woman whose person was perfumed with violets, a scent for which the captain had a particular weakness, and without doubt loaded with jewellery.
Naked and bejeweled.
Not naked, covered in silks.
My bad.
Very
covered in silks.
Very.
And jewellery.
Yeah. Wearing the finery, that's for sure.
Cool. Coolio.
Could go either way.
Yeah.
It's a ghost story. Not a
Do you think
porno?
she's pulling it off, or not him? Like,
It's so shocked to look then.
like the look.
Well, I don't know. The candles have gone out. Ooh.
I mean, like, he knows what she's wearing, so he can see her.
No, he can only feel the silk skirt and the
I didn't
silk
pay attention at all,
petticoats.
did I? I thought I did.
He can feel silk draping over him and perfume wafting toward him.
The candle comes back on, his wife's in the room.
Just spontaneously.
Yeah.
Spontaneous candle combustion?
I mean, that's just a candle exploding, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Took me a second
That's
there.
not a candle, that's just dynamite.
I was going to say, took me a second. Arguably, a candle is combustion.
Her behaviour did not betray any symptoms of embarrassment when she encountered the captain lying on the floor, but planting one icy cold high-heeled shoe on his chest and the other on his cheek, she stepped on him as if he had been an orthodox cushion or footstool, purposely
like that.
placed... What?
So some people like that. Some people would be right into that. Like, not me.
I know, I was trying to barrel through this one, but there you go.
Just saying, like, some
all
people would
of
be
your-
right into that. Just stepped on like he's nothing. Anyway.
Welcome to second-hand porno.
You said it, not me.
No, what I said was... She stepped on him as if he had been an orthodox cushion or footstool, purposely placed there for her convenience. A hollow exclamation which died away in a gasp issued from the bath, as the woman with a swift movement of her arms threw something over it. Now what's going on? Ollie shrugged, ladies and gentlemen.
I did.
Which is
shrugged.
totally fair.
I'm not sure. I'm definitely willing to find out.
Okay. What followed, the captain could only surmise, but from the muttered imprecations, which means a spoken curse. So the ghost in the bathtub started swearing. And splashes in the water, it seemed to him that nothing short of murder was taking place.
Murder.
Did you say mother or murder?
Murder.
What makes you think it was murder?
Oh, I don't know. But I was thinking that when we had that medium on, when we had Rob
Rob.
on, We talked about different ghosts and spirits and like different definitions.
Yeah, whether it's an intelligent haunting or just like a replay of events.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a replay.
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
After a while, the noises in the bath grew feebler and feebler, and when they had finally ceased, the woman, with a sigh of relief, shook the water from her arms and, stepping off the captain, "She's been on him the whole time?"
Some people like that. Get right into it. Don't kink shame.
Ah, you're getting good at the callback there, man.
I'm just saying, don't kink shame, that's all.
What? No, I think it's absolutely fair to kink shame when the kink involves murder.
I was obviously kidding. You know, if it's not consensual, then doesn't count as a kink, obviously.
You're right, the captain has been cucked in someone else's murder kink.
So...
Is that the episode quote? It shouldn't be the episode quote. No.
Okay, first of all, you can't call an episode quote in the episode.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, well, then I'm wrong, and then there's no real sense to the world, and who am I, and where am I?
Anyway, and stepping off the captain, moved toward the fireplace. Because, of course, you have a fireplace in a bathroom in the 1800s, right?
I mean...
What else heats the geyser?
All I can say... Okay. Another geezer, I'm thinking.
I'm sorry,
Geezer
what?
coupling, you know. Geezer's getting it on. All I was going to say was if there was a fireplace, he should have lit that freaking fireplace. That would have been a great light source. As opposed to candles. Just saying. It seems like the more obvious source of light and heat than some candles around the bathtub, which could easily be put out by splashes.
Yeah. Or gusts of wind in this case. Ordinarily, I would agree with you. However, I think the time for the bathroom fireplace has come and gone. Right?
In this era?
No, just in this evening. Like, I feel like the fireplace would have been lit while his wife and kids were taking a bath, and he was still like, I'm not going in that bath. They've been like, all right, we'll put this fire out. And then later on, when him and his wife were in the bedroom, she said, you should have a bath. So he's gone in there and just lit a candle rather than the full fireplace.
So, fun fact.
Is this going to be fun or gross?
Both.
Oh.
My grandmother used to tell me that even when she was a child, which was
You start with the dad, then the mum, then the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the hot water?
Yeah. So they used to share a bath, like not that long ago. Like my great-grandfather used to like trap and eat pigeons, you know, so like for food. Like that was like a...
How did he die?
Of old age.
Cool.
And it comes back to that same, like, you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
And I never really fully appreciated that saying until I was chatting to my grandmother once, and she was saying, like, as a child, they took turns having baths in the same bathwater.
Thanks again to William Feetham for inventing the shower, whose name I did have to look up a second time, so I guess I forgot him already.
Unfortunately, it didn't completely propagate to households until a certain age.
I mean, it takes a lot of mechanical engineering to get that widespread, right?
It doesn't adjust. And then, you know, for me, don't even like a regular shower. I like the rain showers, you know, like it's got the rain shower head.
What happened to you, Ollie?
Lots of stuff.
Oh, wow. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen 1,000-yard stare on you before, but no, I won't pry any further.
Yeah, we've not got enough time to dig into that.
But what we do have time for is to confirm that this captain had his opportunity for an ice bath. A nice bath, not an ice bath. The spell which had, up to the present, enthralled the unfortunate captain was now broken, and, thinking that his ghostly visitor had betaken herself right away, he sat up. He had hardly done so before the darkness was rudely dissipated.
By the Grim.
No, you and the Grim. And to his horror, he saw looking at him from a distance of only a few feet, a white, luminous face, presumably that of a woman. Yes?
And the grim.
A grim woman.
A grim woman. A grim that was overtaking the scene and his thoughts, feelings, emotions. Grim.
Every time I see, say, or hear grim, I can't help but think of The Thing.
I actually watched a television show for quite some time called Grimm.
Oh yes, for the fairy tales, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a fascinating concept about a human that, because they had the ability to see the supernatural, they were called the Grimm. But the Grimm's role was to eliminate the fairy tale creatures, but he forsake his heritage to make friends with the fairy tale creatures. At any rate, I'm very used to the word because I watched that show for a little while, and I actually found it really hard to stick with. I started it several times, and I've gotten up to about halfway, and then I just kind of drop off.
So is this one time where you would not recommend?
I mean, a couple of seasons, sure. See how far you get. If you get further than 2 seasons, please email us at Secondhand Haunting.
Links in the description.
But yeah, no, I just did find it funny because you were constantly talking about the Grimm.
I haven't been. I've just been reading it.
But obviously there was the Brothers Grimm, and then
Grimm and Grimmer.
The Grimm and the Grimmer.
It was their older brother, Grimace.
It was funny to see your reaction to the word because it did remind me of how some people dislike the word moist. Do you have any words that you dislike? Do you have a word that grinds your gears? Like nails on a chalkboard?
Yes. Irregardless. Because it's not a fucking word.
I have another friend that would completely agree with you. I have the word that actually does grind my gears a little bit is the word correct.
Correct.
But used in a context when you say something and people actually say it correct back to you. You're like, oh, this is such and such, and people say correct. They're marking you. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm from the tech industry. People say it all the time in the tech industry.
I feel like I say it all the time.
Oh, do you do?
But I specifically use it whenever someone has asked me a clarifying question that has included at least one double negative. I'm not sure whether I should say yes or no to this, but they have the right gist, so correct.
Right. Well, maybe you'd grind my gears. I don't know. But to be fair, you've never said it to me. But, I'm not in school. You don't need to correct me.
Yeah, fair enough.
I knew I was right.
I feel like you don't come at me with a whole bunch of double or triple negatives. So
the Grimm.
Correct. The Grimm, yes.
Grimm.
Not the Grimm, the woman.
The Gruen, okay.
Yes, the luminous
Grim woman.
But what a woman, what a devil, what a match for the most lurid of any of Satan's male retainers.
God, I love this guy's writing. I know you hate it, but I do. I love it.
I love it most of the time, except when he's as grim. Yet she was not without beauty, beauty of the richest sensual order. Beauty that, had it been flesh and blood, would have sent men mad. Her hair, jet black, wavy and parted in the centre, was looped over her shell-like ears, which were set unusually low and far back on her head. Her nose was that of a rare and matchless shape, teemed Grecian, and her mouth in form a triumph of all things heavenly, in expression a triumph of all things hellish.
Do you know what I like? It's something I don't have, but I think it's a really fascinating thing. Is what do they call it? It's like a devil's peak. Is it called devil's peak?
A devil's peak.
It's like the hair part.
Not widow's peak.
Widow's peak. That's right. Widow's peak. Yeah. Love a widow's peak. I think Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, probably.
Has a widow's peak.
Dracula. That's all I got.
Dracula and Keanu Reeves. Really fascinating. It's something you're absolutely born with. You can't just have a widow's peak. You have to be born with that.
I mean, you could if you want to get real creative with a razor.
Right, but it'd be hard to not see the regrowth.
You'd have to do it every day.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Speaking of peaks that aren't widowish, no. Ugh.
Finish that sentence.
I don't know if I can. The magnificent turn of its short upper lip, the soft voluptuous line of its underlip, its sportive dimples and ripe red colour, its even rows of dazzling pearly white teeth were adorable. But they appealed to the senses, and in no sense or shape to the soul. Her brows, oh my god, he's still describing what she looked like. Do you want me to keep going or just skip until he stops describing every facet?
Going, God.
Christ.
Love this.
Her brows, slightly irregular in outline, met over the nose. Her eyelashes...
Monobrow? I was going to say her brow met over the nose.
Yup.
That's a hot way of explaining a monobrow.
Well, is it mean to say if the eyebrows are meeting over the nose and the nose was a Grecian nose, I think we can safely say she's probably from the Mediterranean somewhere.
I was going to say, Turkish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hellish.
Hellish.
I don't know if I've ever seen you hang your head quite so rapidly before.
Coming for your soul.
Don't worry, I'm just going to edit that down to...
For your soul!
Yeah, so the eyebrows met over the nose. Her eyelashes were of great length, and her eyes, ever so slightly obliquely set, and larger than those of living human beings, were black. Black as her hair, and the pupils sparkled and shone with the most damnable expression of satanical hatred and glee.
I feel like it'd be really great to get... What do they call, the mugshot illustrators?
Like a police sketch artist?
Police sketch artist, yeah.
Yeah.
To, do a sketch based on this.
Funny you should say that, and funny you should say that at that exact moment, because there is an artist rendition of this lady.
Really?
And this is exactly the point where my notes say to show it to Ollie.
Do you remember we used to do, what the fuck is that?
That's right, Ollie. It's a segment of What the Fuck Is That? I'll come over.
Callum, it's coming over to me. Oh, beautiful.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, he's not so much.
That's not hellish.
Ah.
That's actually quite nice.
Yeah.
Now, you did mention that. Him not so much. Can you describe for the listener what's going on in the background of this portrait?
So the guy in the background looks like he's fallen down. He has multiple rolls on his stomach. It looks like he's really let himself go. There is a dead man with an arm overflowing the bathtub. The woman that has taken center stage looks like her eyebrows have met in a seductive way, as opposed to a monobrowish way. She has a flattish face.
She does. That's an extremely flat face.
Yeah, but incredibly attractive, potentially fictional person.
Only potentially?
Yeah, good looking murderer. Yeah, if you're going to be drowned by somebody, it wouldn't be the worst last face to see.
That is...
Hey, life came quick and fast back in the day.
Yeah, it came and went. Yes.
Came and went. Much like me on a Tinder date. Cut that out. Immediately regretted it.
The whole thing, the face and the light that emanated from it, was so entirely awful and devilish that Captain Smythe sat like one turned to stone. And it was not until long after it had vanished that he groped his way to the door, and, in Adam's costume, for he dared not stay to put on his clothes, fled down the passage to his bedroom. So he's still naked.
As the day he was born.
From his wife he got little sympathy. Her sarcasm was too deep for words, and she merely ordered her husband on no account to breathe a word of his silliness before either the children or the servants.
Classic gaslighting.
I know I was defending her earlier, but now I'm coming around. The injunction, however, which was naturally carried out to the letter, was futile as a precaution, for, on running into the bathroom one morning when everyone else was downstairs, the eldest boy Ronald saw, floating in the bath, the body of a hoary-headed old man.
I wonder what a hoary-headed is.
Well, hoary means like old and grey. So I think they just mean like an old-headed old man with grey hair. I guess, yeah, that makes sense. However, it was bloated and purplish blue and had big glassy eyes that stared at him in such a hideous, meaningless manner that he uttered a scream of terror and fled. Alarmed at the noise, most of the household ran to see what had happened. Only the captain remained behind. He knew only too well, and he hid, letting his wife and the servants go upstairs alone. Do you think this guy's brave enough to be a captain?
No. No, I don't. I don't think he's brave enough to be a captain. Clearly, the powers that be,
his superiors?
Nepotism has won out in the end. I don't know.
I feel like
nepotism, friends, family, however he got into captainship.
His wife is dismissive in the extreme, to the point where he might be seeing this as like, well, let her see the ghost then. But for the servants, that feels a bit mean.
And he hid.
He did.
How would you fare?
I don't know. I don't know what I'd do in this situation, because I don't know if I would have married someone who would just dismiss me quite so readily. And so the whole setup for this second part doesn't quite ring true. And also, I don't have servants, and doubt I ever will. What about you?
Good question. I've wondered how I'd fare in those sorts of situations. Well, first of all, I couldn't imagine myself for a second seeing the Grim. I think that
the grimness of the Grim bathroom.
I couldn't imagine myself seeing the Grim in a bathroom. And if I was in the bathroom, maybe I just couldn't imagine myself seeing it. I think that even if it was there, I feel like I would ignore it. You know, I feel like
just ignore it. Hop in the tub.
Yeah, I do. I don't think I'd register a Grim. Like, I feel like I'm too focused on
I'm gonna have this bath.
My task at hand than to think about such things as like the Grim that's in the room.
Okay.
So that would be my first thing. And then if I definitely couldn't see myself checking a cupboard to see whether or not there was a extra Grim in there. I've definitely done that before, but I couldn't see myself checking a cupboard that didn't have the capacity to hold a person.
I know this room is newly constructed, but how many times already have you checked the occupancy of the Murphy bed behind you?
Never.
Never?
Never.
Well then.
Well, more, if they manage to fit in there, more power to them. So I couldn't see myself doing that. And then if the candles went out, I couldn't see myself getting freaked out by it. I mean, like,
well,
dark.
No, you can't see yourself at all. The candles have gone out.
Sure. I'm definitely not someone that's afraid of the dark. So I think that if I saw everything that was portrayed in front of me, first of all, it would blow my freaking mind. Like, I would be... So it's hard to say what would happen after that. You know, yeah. Like, I'd like to think that I would be sound of mind to realize that it was a replay. Because I'd like to think that I was logical enough to realize that if those events were playing out again, that I would be seeing something that would be replaying, and it would be like a ghost as opposed to like a spirit, or
would you be
vice
curious
versa.
To go and see it a second time to see if it looked the same as what you saw the first time?
I think so.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I agree.
I'd like to think that I would be someone that would get curious enough to try and see whether or not I could capture the event, to like, you know...
Capture it?
Yeah, no.
With
to like,
what?
Like, you know, camera or...
In 1800s Glasgow?
Sure, good point. I mean, I'm obviously seeing it through the lens of me now.
Yeah. Which,
you know, is hard to put myself into 1800s Glasgow. Maybe I wouldn't be such a brave man back then. Maybe I would be the scared captain. Is it nature or nurture? You know?
Good point. If you're just living around Glasgow, are you naturally a little bit afraid of everything anyway?
Yeah, no, it's hard to say. I can only speak to who I am right now. And who I am right now, I think that I would certainly be looking for another house.
Yep.
If I was in today's age, I'd be looking to try and recapture it and maybe turn it into a tourist trap.
Monetize it. Well,
YouTube channel, the whole 9 yards, you know.
Your 1800s instinct is good. Do you want to call it now? Do they stay in the house or do they leave the house?
Leave the house.
Okay. They entered the bathroom. There was nothing in the bath, not even water. But as they were leaving, they ran into a dark, handsome, evil-eyed woman clad in the most costly of dresses and sparkling with jewellery. She glided past them with sly, silent footsteps and vanished by the cupboard. Cured of scepticism and throwing dignity to the wind, the captain's wife raced downstairs and, bursting into the drawing room, flung herself on the sofa in hysterics.
Ah!
That's a very deliberate, dramatic response, isn't it? Ah! I need to have a fit. Find me a soft furnishing. Within a week, the house was once again empty, and the rumour getting about that it was haunted, the landlord threatened the Smythes with an action for slander of title.
Alright, sorry. The house is empty?
Yeah, they left.
They left.
Yep.
So I called it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well done. You did the sensible thing, and so did they.
And the landlord is somewhat disappointed.
Yeah, I guess they were renting. Because the landlord is unhappy because they keep telling everyone that the place was haunted. And this is where I had to look up what a slander of title was. It means they've slandered the property to the point where it's causing him financial loss.
Right, so
he can't rent this house because they said it was haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely he knew.
Well, he should have known. I wonder if he did. There's a little bit more of the story to go, and I don't remember it.
It's one of those stories that feels like Scooby-Doo.
A lot of them do. Moving into a new house and there's a landlord. Ruh-roll.
But, I mean, if it wasn't the 1800s, I would say that they sounded like Scooby-Doo effects.
Yeah. But I do not think the case was taken to court. The Smythes agreeing to contradict the report they had originated. Astute inquiries, however, eventually led them to discover that a lady, answering to the description of the ghost they had seen, once lived at Featherton House. Of Spanish descent, she was young, beautiful, and gay. And
she was happy, I get it.
Yes. In this age, that meant she was happy.
I know, I got it. Sorry.
And was married to a man, an extremely wealthy man.
Despite being gay.
Or because of. People remembered how rich he was after he died, and old enough to be her grandfather. They had nothing in common, the husband only wanting to be quiet, and the wife to flirt and be admired.
Match made in heaven.
Or hell. Or grim. Or the bathroom.
Match made in the bathroom. Lots of matches, apparently.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the first. The neighbours often heard them quarrel, and it was declared that the wife possessed the temper of a fiend. The man was eventually found dead in his bath, and there being no indications of violence, it was generally supposed that he had fainted, his wife having been previously heard to declare that he often had fainting fits, and had thus been accidentally drowned.
Was that before or after?
That's before.
Okay,
So this is the previous occupants of the house.
Right, so we're assuming that this is the ghost and the victim.
Yep. So what we are seeing is, in fact, the replaying of perhaps what really happened when the man accidentally had a fit in the bath and drowned.
Totes what actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
100%. Definitively.
The beautiful young widow who inherited all his money left the house immediately and went abroad.
Money, money, money. Must be funny in a rich widow's world. All the things she can do. All the things she can do with her dead husband's money. It's a rich widow's world.
Murder, murder, murder. In the bathtub. In Featherton House.
All the things she can do with her
money,
husband's rich
Oh.
ex-husband's money.
This needs to stop. What a death. Couldn't escape if he wanted to.
I love how you kept going.
Mamma mia. Bathtub murder again.
My, how
I will rent you. Oh, fuck, where was I? And the neighbours, when questioned by the Smythes as to whether anything had been seen of her since, shook their heads dubiously,
shocker.
but refused to commit themselves.
Shocker.
The end.
She got hers.
Yeah, I mean, she really Anna Nicole Smithed that guy. Anna Nicole Smythed.
You were so proud. I saw that.
Doesn't even make sense.
Tragically, she didn't live for that much longer either.
Good point. If she's also a ghost in this scenario.
No. Anna Nicole Smith.
Oh, right. Okay. Did her husband survive her?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
No, he left all his money to her, but I don't think that she lives very much longer.
Okay.
It's a fascinating world. I mean, we're all people just trying to get along.
Or
in
trying to get
crazy world.
Or trying to get money.
In this crazy world, and trying to get money, trying to survive for another day, for another dollar, until we die.
So do you think that this event kept playing itself because both of the participants were now dead?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that this...
No, sorry, no, I don't.
No?
No, I think it was a scenario that played out because of the impression or the memory of what had happened had imparted on the surroundings. But I think that she went on to live for a lot longer.
Okay.
But it'd be interesting to know how much of an impression that would last on such an establishment. But we know from the chicken that it could be
quite a while.
that it could be quite some time. So, if the chicken is anything to go by,
Chicken's nothing to go by.
Decades, potentially hundreds of years. The chicken was like hundreds of years, right?
It was. Yeah.
So we know that something that can leave an impression. Let's go for hypothetically, if it was true, then
You're starting to sound like me.
I'm trying to sound like me without your criticism. I feel like we know from evidence, from proven, observed evidence, that impressions can last for hundreds of years, if not an eternity, without a potential re-establishment of the surroundings. Bulldoze the house.
I bulldoze the house, right? Yeah,
That's what I meant, like a
certainly an
re-establishment
option.
of the surroundings. Like just like changing up the environment. I mean, it's a shame that we don't know where Featherton House is to this day, because I would love to, see if
we know it's near Blytheswood Square.
like Madame Drownaguy is still operating.
Madam who?
Drownaguy.
Madam Drownaguy. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was going to say, what if we haven't quite seen the whole event playing out? And that what happened next was that after she murdered her husband, she slipped on a bit of errant water that had been splashed out the bathtub and cracked her own head open.
Oh, well, maybe
we've got a double death going on here.
Maybe it was like an abusive partner or something as well. Like, we don't know. But we'll never know. We'll never know.
We can't judge this relationship. From
I'm not
200
judging this
years ago.
relationship.
No, outrageous, ridiculous. We can only judge the people in the story. Ollie, who's your MVP?
Oof.
It's rough, isn't it?
I'm going to say the captain.
The captain?
Yeah. Despite the obvious evidence. Because I'm going to say that my reasoning is, and I thought about this for a while.
Thought about this for less than half a second.
I've been thinking about this the entire fucking time, I'll have you know. And the reason why I chose the captain as the MVP is because I feel like despite the challenges of his relationship and the adversity that he was shown around him,
he does seem to have been trying to do the right thing by his wife at the very least.
He has stayed steadfast and even pushed himself into uncomfortable positions to...
Dangerous, deadly positions.
To try and see out the outcome. So even though he was told that everything wasn't completely safe, and even though he thought that things were not quite right, he challenged himself to put himself in that situation. He didn't shy away from the bathroom.
No.
He entered the bathroom.
It took him a week to get there, but he got there.
He
never stood up to his wife, but maybe he could have got there.
He could have done it in the middle of the day where he didn't need light. Instead, he chose to go into the bathtub in the dead of the night with candles to see what would happen. You know, this is a man that was doing something. And I, for one, praise this potentially downtrodden mentally individual for just trying something.
Whilst I might choose some different adjectives to describe the captain, I think I agree that he's the MVP of the story.
Yeah.
He seems to have done more or less the right thing. Eventually.
Eventually is fine. Eventually is not never.
But more importantly, what's your word award? If you're even sure what your word award is.
I'm trying to remember.
It's been a long one, hasn't it?
Desperately hard to remember. It started with a B. It was like you were describing it as like women fanning themselves.
Oh, coquettish.
It did not start with a B. Coquettish. Coquettish.
I think in the story...
Maybe I'll remember that after this reminder, but probably not.
Coquettishly, maybe, but that's fine. Root word.
No, it was definitely
totally
coquettishly,
fine.
for sure.
Yeah. That's totally fair. He now waltzed coquettishly to the bath. Well, I'm not awarding the word award to Grimm. I'm just scanning through this story, and all I'm finding, all my eyes are settling on, is the word grim.
There was another word, but I can't remember it now.
Beflounced is pretty good. Runner-up is going to be forthwith, but I think my winner is going to be Geezer. Now, I know it's Geyser, but...
No. Definitely a water feature.
It is a feature of the story, at the very least. Anyway.
To Geezer.
To coquettish geezers. And another episode done of... Second-hand haunting.
Coked up geezers.
Coked up. This week's story by Elliott O'Donnell, hosted by Callum Patrick and Olly Holmes, edited by Callum Patrick for the Peas Inner Podcast Network.